Welcome to the Let's Chew podcast presented by Gulfood, the largest annual F&B sourcing event in the world. I'm your host, Shirwaiker, bringing you compelling stories and insights to a wide range of topics in the food and drinks industry, from farming, behind the scenes, to the culinary world, and to foods we simply love to chew on. In this podcast series, we speak to people, brands, and businesses across the food and drink spectrum to find out more about why they do what they do and how, in their own way, they're championing change and shifting the future of food and drink. Trust me, there's so much more, so listen to the Let's Chew podcast on our website, gulfood.com, and subscribe to our newsletter for the latest updates in food. Welcome back to a brand new episode of the Let's Chew podcast. As always, I'm your host, Shirwaiker, and in today's episode, we're exploring innovative ideas and solutions shaping our global food system from the fantastic event we have wrapped up in September called the Gulfood Green. So, have you ever wondered how the food we eat today will evolve over the next century? What if the key to a sustainable global food system is much closer than we think? We have an exciting lineup of experts who will be sharing their insights on nutrition, sustainable agriculture, food security, the role of technology in food production, and so much more. So let's dive in.
My name is Dr. Flávia Fayet-Moore. I'm a nutrition scientist, space nutritionist, and the CEO of FoodIQ Global. At FoodIQ Global, we do end-to-end food and nutrition science, communication, education to really put food and nutrition at the heart of business strategy to help improve human health globally. So what we'll be eating in 100 years will be shaped by 7 interconnected areas, which includes agriculture, how foods are grown and developed, the actual foods and innovation in the foods that we eat, how we access our food through food service, and how technologies are making food last longer and be fresher and safer with all natural technologies, as well as diets, how our diets are going to be shaped, and there's not going to be one size fits all anymore. It's really going to be driven by personalization, eating according to our genes and our needs.
Dr. Flávia emphasizes a future where diets are personalized and driven by our unique needs. But how will advancements in space research influence our food systems here on Earth?
Space research and development innovations have already shaped our food systems on Earth with freeze drying and the food safety called HACCP. And we're in this revolutionary time where food technology innovation is growing very rapidly. And at the same time, we have people going to the moon and to Mars. So we need to leverage some of that technology from farm all the way to health. And in the end is community. So food interconnects us all.
Well, my name's David Blume, as you mentioned, and I'm an ecologist and biosystematist. I also happen to have a research farm called Whiskey Hill Farms, which is named after a geographic feature in the area. But we've been teaching regenerative agriculture for many, many years, not sustainable agriculture. Regeneration goes far beyond, and it requires an ecological view applied to farming.
David advocates for regenerative agriculture as a solution to increasing food production sustainably. But what if feeding pests could actually protect crops?
Well, it's my own paradigm about how to deal with pests. So feed your enemies is really simple. For instance, if there are crows at the end of your field, and they like to eat corn. So about 2 days before you're ready to harvest, the crows come down in there and start eating your corn, which is a big problem. So what I do is feed my enemies. Before that point comes, I go to the edge of the field, I split open a cheap bag of feed corn and I leave it there and the crows all eat that. And they ignore my crop until it gets harvested.
By understanding soil biology and fostering cooperation between farmers and consumers, David believes we can enhance crop yields sustainably. But what challenges do we face as our global population approaches 10 billion?
We only have about 31 years left before we hit 10 billion people. That's a very short time, one generation. So what we have to do is produce more food. And the way we do that is by understanding biology. So the soil is not just a convenient place for roots to hold on while we add chemical fertilizer. That's been the philosophy for 80 years now.
As we discuss these challenges, it's clear that collaboration is key. But how can we ensure that vulnerable smallholder farmers continue to produce our food sustainably?
I am AbdulHakim Elwaer. For short, you can call me Hakim. I'm the Assistant Director General and the Regional Representative for the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations in the Near East and North Africa region. Trade is very important. Smallholder farmers is a category that's highly vulnerable. 80% of our food is still produced by these small farmers. And these farmers, if rain doesn't come in September, they're lost. So we need to provide them with more microfinance, with more support, with more capacity for them to continue producing our food. If they stop, 80% of our food would not be there.
AbdulHakim highlights the complexities of food security. It's not just about having enough food, he says. It's also about access and affordability. How can we ensure that smallholder farmers continue to thrive despite climate challenges?
What are the key pillars for food security? And those are what I call the 4 A's. And the food availability, food access, food affordability, and food adequacy. And by adequacy, you mean adequacy for health, so the nutrition of food. We then went into the impact of climate change and how we very much depend on the rainy seasons to follow up the production of our food. And in today's climate change, this climate variability of changing patterns on the rainfall has directly impacted our capacity to sustainably produce food.
As we consider these insights, it's evident that building a sustainable future requires not just innovation, but also consumer engagement. But how can we make healthier choices when it comes to the foods we eat?
My name is Bjorn. I'm the co-founder of Aventure. It's a Sweden-based food as medicine company. So we do deep tech, deep food science and research into improving your metabolic health. How can we make food healthier? Food that you can eat a lot of and just get better the more you eat, as opposed to today, where a lot of the food, unfortunately, is not very good for you. Our key insights is, first of all, we have a global pandemic, scary explosion of obesity and diabetes in the world. 2.1 billion people are today overweight or obese. That's a massive number. We're talking a huge impact on healthcare systems, it's a completely unsustainable solution with the exploding healthcare costs. We're talking 7.5 trillion annual global burden on costs, and it's just no way to keep funding and paying for this explosion of unhealth, right? Caused by food. It's all avoidable. I think food has to be enjoyable, has to be aspirational, you should never feel like a sacrifice or eating second best or something. And there's so much you can do with plant-based food that's truly delicious, nutritious.
Let's imagine a world where every meal not only satisfies hunger, but also contributes to better health. But what role does collaboration play in advancing, for instance, alternative protein?
So I'm Rohan Shirwaiker. I'm a professor of industrial and systems engineering at NC State University. I also serve as a co-director and chief scientific officer of the Bezos Center for Sustainable Protein at NC State. So alternative proteins is a very growing field, and as it happens with many emerging fields, the initial research happens behind closed doors. So right now, majority of the research in this domain is funded by private companies. And naturally, because of IP issues and other things, a lot of the science and technology is like a black box. So this is where public-private partnerships help. Like the Bezos Center, everything we'll do is going to become open access. So the research that we do, we will publish, the data will become available, and we will also be developing some new technology, but we will have opportunities for our industry partners to license those technologies and bring those ideas to practice.
Rohan advocates for public-private partnerships to foster transparency in research and development within the alternative protein sector. But how do we ensure these innovations reach consumers effectively?
I particularly highlighted the importance of creating an ecosystem. You cannot work in silos on research problems. You have to work together on building educational initiatives and training the workforce to go along with the development of new science and technology. It is also very important to engage the community because at the end of the day, unless the consumers adopt your product, you're not going to create a market. And so working closely with consumers, understanding their needs, their perspectives, not only educating the customers, but learning from them and incorporating that into the research is very important.
As we consider these insights from various experts, it's clear that building a sustainable future requires collaboration across sectors. But how about new technologies in urban farming?
So I'm Skye Kurtz. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Pure Harvest Smart Farms. And Pure Harvest is a technology-enabled agribusiness. So we're vertically integrated. We design, procure, and construct growing systems that let us farm fruits and vegetables in impossible places, even in the harsh environment of the United Arab Emirates. And doing so, we do so with far less resource, less water, and ultimately providing a very high quality, safe product, right? We use no chemicals. It's a very clean product. And then we market and sell that to consumers in a brand, right? We're providing a brand promise and having a relationship with the consumer that they're buying fundamentally better farmed product from Pure Harvest.
Skye highlights the importance of water efficiency in agriculture, an often overlooked aspect in discussions about sustainability.
2/3 of the world's water is used in farming. And in this region, it's north of 70%, but producing less than 1% of GDP and less than 20% of our food supply. So it's a critically inefficient use of maybe the most important natural resource we have. The organic growth rate in organics is tremendous. It's like software growth rates globally. Why? People are informed by smartphones and by digital media and engagement with one another, and consumers are caring more and more about what they're putting in their bodies.
But how can cities adapt their design to integrate sustainable farming practices?
So my name is Peter. I'm the founder of the first farm in the world on the water, completely floating. It's called Floating Farm, obviously. We are floating in the port of Rotterdam, where we produce healthy food, because our goal is to produce healthy food in this climate-changing world. So we see more and more floodings coming towards our lives every day. We see droughts coming towards us every day. But being on the water, we have no impact of droughts or floodings.
Peter's innovative approach reduces food miles by producing food close to urban consumers.
So we have created cities from the past, large cities, that is that we live inside the city and we produce food far away, we produce fresh water far away, energy far away. Everything is being transported to the city and the garbage is out again. This is outdated. So new cities will be much more integrated, creating harmony between people, plants, and animals, creating biodiversity in the city, and being accountable for your own energy production, maybe with your neighbors, being accountable for your own fresh water production, maybe with your neighbors. So it will be inside cities, and buildings will be different. So inside buildings, we will exchange heat and cold inside the building, energy and stuff like that. So cities will be redesigned, and food production is a massive, impactful element of the design of new cities that will be small scale, locally, transparent, and very attractive for talents to work into this food industry.
So, as we wrap up today's episode, it's clear that the future of food hinges on innovation, collaboration, and community engagement across various sectors. From urban farming solutions like those offered by Skye and Peter Van, to regenerative practices advocated by David, and much more. What steps will you be taking to contribute to a more sustainable planet through your choices? Let us know down below, and don't forget to leave us a rating. I hope this episode has helped you get a glimpse of the pressing challenges and the ample opportunities we have to create a sustainable global food system for all. So thank you so much again for joining us on the Let's Chew podcast. Stay tuned for more episodes like this. And until next time, keep chewing on these great ideas, and bye for now.